We're here at the Cllr Leisure Centre in Letterkenny for the separation of ballot papers for the European and local elections. It's been a very busy morning and it continues into the afternoon as the council workers work hard to separate all the ballot papers before the votes, of course, take place in the respective areas tomorrow. The Letterkenny Milford electoral area will be counted here at the Cllr Leisure Centre, but the tally men have been very, very busy putting together what they think will be the 10 people who will represent that area at the county council level. Still a lot of votes to be counted, and of course we're in the realms of speculation. I'm joined here by outgoing councillor Ciaran Brogan of Fianna Fáil, who has polled tremendously well along with his colleagues Councillor Liam Blaney and newcomer James Pat McDaid. And Ciaran, I know that politicians don't like to speculate before they know what the final result is, but I think it's safe to say that yourself, Liam Blaney, and newcomer James Pat McDaid look likely to take 3 seats.
I am very happy with that, Charlie, there's no doubt. Myself and Liam are well up there, and James Pat has polled huge. That's a great endorsement for us in the party, because he's a young man. We need new blood, and it's like a football team or any organisation. You need new blood to attract new blood. He came into the race very late, but you know, it's a great credit to him and his team as well. And I suppose myself and the team, the loyal team that I have it behind me, and of course the Blaneys has that loyalty there in their own team for many, many years. But for the party overall, I think this is a great result. I'm very proud of the result. I'm very proud of the work that we have undertaken the last number of weeks. It was a very good, clean campaign. We worked very, very hard, and for my own team, I'm delighted for them because they put in a huge effort. And I think, you know, I've said before, it's a huge honour to be the candidate. It takes a team, and I have a huge team behind me who've stood loyal to me for the last 15 years, and today again we got the result, and I'm glad for the Fianna Fáil party at this juncture that we've managed to secure the 3 seats.
Yeah, you had a 4th candidate, John Watson. He was always going to be up against it in Letterkenny because there were so many Letterkenny candidates as well. It would have been asking too much to take 4 seats, Ciaran.
Yeah, well, in fairness to John, I suppose what happened is he came into the race late as well. He put in a huge effort and a huge campaign, and I suppose, to be fair, he mightn't have had the same support on the ground as we would have had, and he takes a big team. It's not like a town council election. A county council election, there's a huge organisation needed. I want to pay tribute to John Watson. He fought a good battle, and was, you know, it's important for us as a party. We recognise the contribution he made. But I suppose with the abolition of town councils made this election a very, very difficult election. It's the most difficult election ever I've fought. 22 candidates in the race, but for the first time, because of the abolition of the town council, we had councillors in Letterkenny who never ran before, who were originally town councillors. You had Jimmy Kavanagh, Jerry McMonigal, Pascal Blake, and Tom Crossan, who had a strong track record in the town council, had a profile there, so they had a huge advantage over the other candidates as well. But again, in my own side of the electoral area, I mean, living in Trenta, we had 7 candidates in that area within a 4-mile radius. You know, so it was going to be a very, very difficult campaign from the outset. But I think everyone fought the election and fought it well, and we see the results here today. Yeah. And I suppose now we look forward to Milford.
Are you surprised that the Fianna Fáil vote is held up as well as it had, not only in this particular area of Letterkenny Milford, but it would appear right around the other electoral areas that it's held its own pretty well?
Well, this was always going to be a test for Fianna Fáil, and I think Fianna Fáil is at a difficult juncture at the moment. We need to be the first to recognise that. Some people have been slow to recognise that, but I think any organisation is only as good as the people they have on the ground doing the work. From my part, I'm very proud of the track record that I have doing one-to-one constituency work for different people, and I think people are reward that. And I think it'll be fair to say that local elections a lot of the time is about the local candidate themselves as well, and you know, every candidate who fought this election deserves great credit for that.
You make a very good point there, Ciaran. I was just talking to Deputy Joe McEwen, suggesting to him that some very good Fine Gael local councillors are going to suffer at this election because of what's happened at national level, something that they don't really have major input into.
Yeah, well, there's a message in this, and you know, I've said this 5 years ago chatting to you, Charlie. You know, irrespective of who's in government, there's a huge disconnect from what's going on at the top to the reality of what's on the ground. And you know, some Fine Gael councillors maybe is paying a price, and the Labour councillors or candidates for that matter is paying the price as well. But maybe government needs to sit up and take notice of what the real issues are on the ground. And for me, the disconnect between how issues like medical cards has been addressed. It's nothing short of a disgrace when people are walking into a chemist shop and told that their medical card is no longer in place. Some of the cuts that we've seen there is very unfair to the people on the ground. And the great thing about democracy is people will have their say, and it's very evident today by some of the independent candidates elected, that people have spoken. But I suppose Fianna Fáil had 4 candidates in the race, but it'd be fair to say we had more than 4, because some of the independents are of Fianna Fáil gene pool. Michael McBride 5 years ago ran as a Fianna Fáil candidate. John O'Donnell would have been a Fianna Fáil candidate up until maybe a number of months ago, was very active in my campaign at the last election. So there's a lot of Fianna Fáil gene pool there. And David Fisher, the son of Councillor Victor Fisher, who served Fianna Fáil party very well over the years and ran as an independent. So the Fianna Fáil gene pool is there, but we need to learn, the party needs to learn about how they address these things going forward, because we didn't have a convention and that was wrong too. So there was mistakes made by the Fianna Fáil party, and maybe now they'll sit up and take notice.
And finally, Ciaran, is this a stepping stone? We see, I spoke to Deputy Pierce Doherty, Sinn Féin are doing well in this election, look as if they could return up to 9 councillors to council. As you mentioned, the independents are doing well. Is there a message out there now from Micheál Martin that Fianna Fáil have taken a pretty positive step, it would seem, but there's a lot of work to be done before the next general election in 18 months or 19 months time?
Oh, there's no doubt. Fianna Fáil sometimes forget, and they need to get back to listen to the people on the ground. Sometimes, and I've said this publicly before, some people in Fianna Fáil think because a breeze is blowing against the government that it's going to actually pick them up. Unless Fianna Fáil get into addressing the issues that affect the people on the ground, then they're not going to grow. So there's a reality for Fianna. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you listen to your own grassroots on the ground and you work addressing the issues that are of concern to people, and during this canvass that was a challenge for me, but there's a lot of people out there sick and unwell, there's a lot of people waiting on hospital appointments. Those are the things people want to see addressed. So there's challenges for everyone in the public service, and going back into Milford, I intend to be vocal in raising those issues.